Hello, everybody. Are you ready for your emotional exchange? Hi, welcome once again to Oberon's Outlook on the Emotional Exchanges. This is a weekly tarot forecast provided from our channel TFT Tarot for Today, Divine Dabblings with Oberon and Banshee. And it's a 1 week forecast to kind of give you the skinny or the information on the emotional kind of energies or events or situations you may encounter this week. It's designed to be for the signs of the zodiac as they are arranged by their elemental association. So let's get started with that. And we're going to start with air signs. And air signs are the signs Gemini and Libra and Aquarius. So this reading, all of these readings are for the week going forward from today, Friday, March 13th, through Thursday, March 19th. So if it resonates with you, that's great. Leave us a comment, like it, share it. We pull a word of the week for each of those elemental situations. And that word of the week is hopefully intended to provide a little bit of context to your reading, or perhaps give you some advice on how to look at things or the energies to look for. So we're going to do that now for the air signs. And we have previously shuffled that. And so I am now pulling that. And that is love and desire. So I'm going to lay that right there. Love and desire. So that's the word of the week, or the two words of the week. I guess in this context, they are a little bit synonymous. So keep this in mind, you air signs, as you're going throughout the week. Try to give the loving and desiring energies, and hopefully you can receive those yourself. So now I'm going to go ahead and shuffle for your reading. And like I said before, perhaps you can like or share or leave a comment. You can subscribe to our channel, TFT Tarot for Today, and you will be notified of when we live stream. Our stream schedule is at the bottom of the screen. We actually do live stream and take questions from people and do small mini readings for free. And that's Thursdays at 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then also on Sundays from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Occasionally those Sundays are later because of my other work schedule. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and pull our cards for the week for the air signs. And we have the Three of Discs reversed. We have the Princess of Cups also reversed. And then we have Judgment, Major Arcana 20. And that one is upright. So what does this mean for air signs? Air signs tend to be more employing their intellect to most of their situations rather than emotion. But that's just a generalism. That's not necessarily conclusively true for all air signs or all situations. So what do we have? We have the Three of Discs reversed. And this tells me that maybe from an intellectual level and an emotional level, we may be encountering resistance to our goals, our projects, or we may be actually encountering disagreement with how we implement our desires, our projects, our knowledge, our skill base. So there may be some scrutiny going on here. Perhaps an example would be that maybe you've been waiting to be approved for a particular artistic project or a functional project, and maybe instead you got some criticisms you didn't really feel good about, something like that. So, in other words, remember these things, that this could happen, but it's only for this next week. We have the Princess of Cups reversed, and that's kind of like the Page of Cups reversed. So that's maybe indicating that to some degree we're having a sense of loss with our attitudes that relate to those kinder emotions that we feel, like maybe what we base our judgments on from a heart emotional point of view, that maybe we're mistrusting these kind of judgments that we are making or have to make. And sure enough, we also have the Judgment card, which I think is also providing that idea there too, that maybe there is a concern about where we're going with all of that, that we're feeling like we are being judged, and maybe we will resolve to try to advance ourselves in different ways. So I think that's what's happening, and I think that it is also informed by the word of the week, love and desires. So I think that you air signs need to consider some of your projects, some of your relationships and situations, and remember that they may not always be end-alls, and that sometimes the sense of judgment or criticism is actually okay. We need that to grow. So we're going to go ahead and move that aside there and move on to our next. And those are the fire signs. Fire signs are Aries, like the deer banshee, Leo, and also Sagittarius. And so this reading is for them for the next week. And they have a word of the week too, which I'm going to present right now. Oh my, I guess this is just that kind of week. We did have the full moon, so I don't know what some of my other astrological friends would say, but now we have Passion, card 15 in this deck. And of course, that could relate to some other concepts. How is passion different from love and desire? Maybe a little bit, but maybe not always the exact same amount. So think about this, because passion can sometimes lead us towards situations that we may feel addict us, or maybe override some of our more intuitive abilities or our common sense kind of situation. So I'm just going to kind of go with that a little bit there. Okay, so now we're going to do our reading. This is for the fire signs. And what do we have? What do we have? Fire signs have a little bit different kind of energy going for them. First, they have the Magician, the Major Arcana 1. They also have the Four of Cups reversed. Boy, this has come up a lot lately for us in different readings. And then they have the Star. So remember what I said about these situations that maybe involve misjudgments or tendencies to be overly wedded to materialistic concepts, or concepts that maybe are bad behaviors. But the Magician says that actually those things are probably mitigated, if the word of the week was actually what that was. I guess the word of the week is really telling us, look at your magician instincts, look at what you create, what you empower yourself to do, where you set your will, your creative imagination, belief, force into action. Be that passionate about that, I guess, is what the word of the week is telling us, and that maybe good things will happen. But we're also seeing the Four of Cups reversed too, and so that is also saying, I guess, we have arrived at a choice, that maybe we have actually considered some of these passions and these behaviors and situations, and so the Magician card says we are moving towards that summation, the clarification of our choice. And what is our choice? Perhaps our choice is the star. And I like how there's that big glare from my lighting there over the star. It's almost like another example, but there's the star there. So I'm going to move that card over there, let the star be a little bit behind her, but always with her. And so what we have decided to do, I guess, is to work on what can inspire people. So that's what fire signs are doing. And so it's kind of reflected in several cards here, but I think this is a week where fire signs really will resolve to look at their situations, be their best, employ their forces, choose the right direction, and be the star, bring hope, help others. That's beautiful. So that's what I have for your fire signs. Took me a moment to get there, but hey, we did. So we're going to go ahead and put those back there, move that over there. And now we are going to read for the water signs. Water signs are the signs of Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. They tend to be very fluid in certain ways of thinking, but also within their realms of emotionality. So they may have more easier chance to resonate to many situations from their heart, whether that is a good or a bad thing, perhaps. So hopefully this week will provide some information for them, what they're going to be up against. First, we're going to pull our word of the week. And the word of the week is revelation. So water signs, think about that. What is the revelation that maybe you are looking for, the revelation you are hoping to share with others? That's a little bit similar maybe to what happened to the fire sign. So maybe I'm seeing a little bit of a thing here like this last week. The Mercury retrograde ending and the full moon is telling us, something better is coming to us. So let's hope so for that. So I'm going to go ahead and shuffle the cards for the water signs. And remind everybody again that we have a number of different content videos. We do the soul stories, which are stories. So far, Banshees have 3 of them. I'm hoping to do one soon. But soul stories represent times where there was a strong spirit connection and where things happened in mysterious or maybe fascinating, enlightening ways that provided that connection and that sense of soul. And so Banshee just put out a new one. Look for that on our YouTube channel. Next week we'll also be doing our monthly modality message, which is an entirely different take on using astrology with tarot card readings. And we think that as we fine tune that and get more comfortable with that, that one's going to be a real winner for people. So look for that. And I guess we're ready to read for the water signs. What do we have for you guys? Alrighty. We have the Queen of Pentacles or Discs. And that's reversed. We have the Princess of Wands upright. So that's kind of like the Page of Wands, if you're wondering. And then we have our friend the Magician again, only this time the Magician is reversed. So what do these things mean? Well, the Queen of discs reverse seems to indicate some sort of stagnation for folks this week, or some sort of sense of a creative flow just isn't working for you. Remember, I said our word of the week is revelation, so maybe finding out, I'm just going to intuit here that there's something really dramatic going on in our lives, maybe that's affecting us at different levels, and that maybe that revelation is coming with the energies of the Queen of Discs reversed. It's also possible that it's coming with the Princess of Wands, which really does represent messages coming to you. And they're usually, in this case, a message about maybe some sort of enterprise or friendship or situation. I mean, it may be news about job hunting or about situations involving your workplace or career. So these things may be providing some information there. It looks like maybe there is something going on there too. I don't know, because the Magician reversed, our final card. It may be once again indicating that there's some problems with how we are employing our will, or how there may be limitations to what our effectiveness can be. And I think all of this really smacks of some workplace difficulties. I'm going to just give a minor shout out to our friend Esoterics Tarot, whose readings we like to read too. And I really did feel that what was said in my weekly forecast this week really did resonate to the work process. And I am one of these water signs. So it wasn't the greatest of news, but I appreciate knowing that. And once again, I'm getting kind of a clarification of that for some water signs. So watch out, maybe be wary that there may be some things coming that you weren't expecting, and they will hit you like a revelation. So you just need to kind of stay on top and be flexible, I think, like most water signs can be. So that's what we have for the water signs, and we thank you. And finally, we're going to move on to our earth signs. And earth signs are the signs of Taurus and Virgo and Capricorn. And so they tend to be elementally more grounded due to that situation. They tend to feel more structured, more solid, less emotional on certain judgment matters or in certain matters in general. So let's see what their word of the week is. And that's nice. And I have a lot of earth in my chart. So that's a thing about these readings too, is that if you didn't resonate particularly well to your sun signs reading, you might, if you know your moon sign or your ascending sign, read that elemental association too. So I'm resonating to earth sign a little bit because I do have a bit of earth in my chart. It's one of those guys. And our word, or their word of the week, is domesticity. Domesticity. I'm having problems saying that. And of course, that's really kind of more about being able to feel calm about our home situation, to feel things are in an orderly manner, things are structured in a way that allows for function of the unit, the family unit, if it were. Okay, so that sounds a little bit earth signish to me. And I am noting that as far as sun signs go, neither I or the Banshee are earth signs, although we both have some of that earth in our chart in actually some of the very similar places too. Oh dear, I'm having a problem with my cards. But I think I only dropped that one. Yes. Okay, so this reminds me of something I saw earlier in the week too. Anyway, we are not traditional domestics, I guess is what I'm trying to say. We're doing the best we can. So it may be why you never get invited over, though, because dusting and stuff like that is kind of a little problematic. Anyway, here's our cards for the earth signs. And they are okay cards. We have the Four of Wands, and that's reversed. That's not an entirely bad card. We have the Six of Cups, and that's reversed. And then we have the Queen of Swords. And so remember that I said our word of the week was domesticity. And I'm thinking there are some situations that maybe from the look of these cards, do pertain a little bit more to the home life or that comfort area of our lives. Maybe it could be your work life too. I don't know. Maybe some people do feel comfortable at work. I'm kind of weird that way myself sometimes. I mean, sometimes I feel like when I have 3 days off and I didn't really have a lot to do, I'm like, when am I going back? When am I going back? I just sort of feel sometimes work does fulfill me in a certain kind of way. So I don't know what I'm going to do as I move closer to retirement. I guess I'll have to find another job or something like that. Anyway, with earth signs, with the Four of Wands, I think what we're seeing here is the sense of some stabilization with social situations and maybe things that we thought were going to proceed maybe a little bit in a particular direction, with spring moving and, it's a time where people do certain kinds of celebrations, graduations, weddings, baby showers, whatever it is. And of course, at this point in time, in mid-March-ish, many parts of the country are dealing with wondering about going to gatherings because of the coronavirus and the contamination that or infection rate that's going on. So maybe this is reflective of that as we're moving ahead in the week. Maybe. The Six of Cups reversed is also indicating too maybe a longing for the past, but yet not really realizing that some of those things were just not really that helpful. But it's just sort of like there's a comfort level there again. So apply the level of domesticity to that equation. I'm thinking like, were you really more comfortable in the past or are you really more comfortable now? For many of us, it may be the latter. That maybe, our memories are one thing, childhood nostalgia or past nostalgia, but we can't really live there. We do have to move ahead, and maybe that's what the Queen of Swords tells us too. The Queen of Swords is about moving ahead in certain levels. It's really about making the judgments you need to make and the sense of being informed about them. So maybe what this tells me too is that as you ponder these situations, your level of informedness comes to bear, and that you realize that you do have to move beyond some of this and move ahead, especially as we're moving ahead as a country in a very crucial time for those of us here in the United States. So at any rate, that's pretty much what I have for the earth signs. So that's going to kind of wrap up this week's session for Oberon's Outlook on the emotional exchanges. I do thank you all for coming and really do appreciate if you like or share. Remember to check out our live stream. Remember to go to the YouTube channel and see some of the other things we're doing. And we're planning even more. So check us out, and we will see you again next time. So bye-bye.